Why have the histories of so many of our intellectual pioneers been subverted? Have the intellectual contributions of specific graduates been left out of history? PPS has recently launched an incredible campaign called Finding the Forgotten Graduate, where they delved into history and identified 10 forgotten graduates. But there's a whole story behind the story. I'm catching up with Ayanda Seboni, Group Executive, Marketing and Stakeholder Relations, about the campaign and the story behind the stories. Ayanda, thank you for making the time to talk to me. I would love our audience to hear a bit more about the background and what this amazing campaign is all about. So
Thank you, Rianet.
the name of the campaign is Finding the Forgotten Graduate. So please tell us what this is all about, the short version, of course.
Thank you, Rianet. So the Finding the Forgotten Graduate feels like it's been a bit of a labor of love. So as you know, PPS is a financial services, we're a diversified financial services company that deals with graduate professionals exclusively. And we obviously operate under the ethos of mutuality. So we were thinking, working with our agency partners around, this graduate segment, and it was actually during the 80th. Last year was our 80th year, and we're starting to think a little bit about like the foundations of PPS, where we came from, and we started going back in time and thinking, I wonder who some of the pioneers were, because if you look at our history, we were founded by 8 dentists who came together and built this incredible business. And the way they built the business was about community, which is something that is very rare these days. This ethos of mutuality is something that's quite special. So we wanted to actually go back and think, well, if people could do something this visionary back in those days, and it was during the Second World War, it was the most inopportune time. And yet they were coming up with these amazing ideas. We thought we started to wonder about graduate professionals, how far they go back, and that's where the concept was born from. And we started to think, who are these graduates from the past? And we knew some names, but we thought, actually, who are some of the names that are less known that have got stories to tell? And that's how we ended up where we are now.
There was a lot of work that went into that. At the end, we'll share the website address for our audience, but that is quite a piece of work. It is incredible. So tell me how, okay, maybe tongue in cheek first, do dentists get special rates, since it is a lot of dentists that started PPS?
It was only dentists that started PPS, and it used to be just for dentists, and then we kept opening up, so it was dentists, that was doctors, and etc. etc. So no, dentists get their rates. Obviously, we underwrite everyone, and we need to be fair between members. So there's no dental discount per se. But we do love our dentists, and they are almost like our pioneers as PPS. So we absolutely love them. In fact, we with our short-term insurance business, we've started a product just for dentists where we insure their chairs and all sorts of equipment. And I never knew there was that much equipment associated with being a dentist. But most of the time is because I'm like putting on my headphones and being completely fearful when I visit them that you don't notice all of these sophisticated equipment. Yeah.
That is true, but I'm really chuffed to hear that about the short-term product. That's really, really cool. So tell me, how did you choose your 10 pioneers? What was the whole journey?
So for us, the 10 pioneers that we chose were, I guess we wanted different people. We wanted every single South African to recognize themselves in at least one of these stories. If you look at South Africa, we've got such a complicated history. And it so happened that, we're just talking, and in one of the conversations, it was like, oh, I wonder who's the first graduate of color. And that was one angle that we used, right? And we didn't know who it was, and people that we thought, and when they graduated, actually, we thought they graduated a whole lot later and so on. So, but by the time we started digging, we discovered that, this particular person, William Anderson Soga, didn't exist on Wikipedia, which was like crazy. So we started going back and we were looking for all the different angles. We were looking for women, in the different disciplines and things like that. And so we wanted everyone who is a South African to identify with at least one character that's in the stories. So you've got the likes of William Anderson Soga, you've got Alfred Mangena, you've got even someone like C. Louis Leipold, which is an interesting selection. Some people have said to me, C. Louis Leipold, how can he be forgotten? I mean, he was a poet. Everyone knows who he is. He's like one of the most famous, writers. But few know that, one, he was a doctor. Second, he was a first schools inspector, right? But also, over and above that, the way that his history was told, very few people know that he was anti-racism, he was anti-discrimination against women, and he was anti-discrimination against the LGBTQ community. You've got the likes of Charlotte Maxeke, who was a black woman who went all the way to the US to study, was a chorister. So there are all these rich layers. Jatelo Soga, the brother of William Anderson Soga. In fact, the Soga family is just a phenomenal family. And he was the first vet in the country. And at the turn of the century, we had a massive outbreak of rinderpest, and he helped to end that outbreak of rinderpest. So it was stories like that. We actually were not short of people to feature. We were not short of pioneers, because this country is made out of incredible people. But at some stage, we had to try and find the right stories to collect for at least this first version. My CEO has already said, listen, it doesn't end here. You've got to keep going. You've got to go find other people and things like that. But there are also the stories of the life of Sonia Schlesinger. She used to work with Mahatma Gandhi in his law firm. And she wanted to be a practicing attorney and was told, no, women don't basically have the temperament to be attorneys. This year, Rianet, I found out from the South African Women Lawyers Association that it's the 99th year that women have been allowed to practice law. So next year they celebrate their centenary. But there used to be a belief that women could not be part of the legal profession. So all of those stories needed to be unpacked, and all of those angles needed to be told. And the way that we've done the experience is we tell the story of the pioneer, but there's also a lot of other documents that were uncovered by the historians, who then tell, you can troll through it and read it on your own.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that interactive experience, I must say. There is a message from PPS. Why are they doing it? There's a message that you guys are sending out. What is that message, and why is it so important for you?
So for us, the big message that we're going out with is, if you believe you can overcome, if you think about the circumstances under which a lot of those pioneers obtained their qualifications, the odds were against them. And if you take that and you bring it to South Africa today, there are so many challenges that today's youth face, but they can overcome in spite of their circumstances. So for us, the main message was to try and inspire, the generation that is coming, graduate professionals, and to also tell and tell people that, if someone could overcome under those circumstances, there are so many things that different people had to overcome. The challenges that they had in those days and the challenges that we have today might not be exactly the same, but we still all have to overcome some kind of challenges. And also, we wanted to make this about South Africa and South Africans from all walks of life. It's not about just one type of South African, it's everyone. And we wanted, whether you're coming from this angle or that angle, you're a city slicker, you're from a rural area, you're coming from an affluent background, or you're coming from a less affluent background. We wanted you to find yourself in these stories. And this is what has really inspired us. And we, as a country, are in need of that next thing that's going to take us to the next level. And that is only going to happen if graduate professionals, one, stay in the country. That's a big thing for us. And they contribute, to making this country meet its full potential. So that is what we are going for. We really want to inspire. We really want to tell the youth of today, and maybe the older youth like myself, to say nothing is impossible. If you really believe that you can achieve things, you definitely can achieve them. And that is the angle that we're going with.
I love that deeper message. It is it's very valid, and you have made a lot of very good points. But it doesn't stop with the stories and the interactive websites and everything else. There is a bursary fund linked to this campaign. Please tell me more about that.
So this campaign culminates in what we have called the first posthumous life policy. So this is a posthumous that is awarded after someone has died. So in this case, it's 106 years after William Anderson Soga passed away that we are issuing this life policy. So it is an amount that has been allocated in his honor, and it's going to work as a scholarship. So it's taking the life of William Anderson Soga, but also all the other pioneers, and saying, if you look at William and you look at his practice as a doctor, if he had taken a life policy back in those days, how much would it have been? Then the actuaries did a lot of calculations. They had to look at the inflation rate. They had to look at everything in order to come up with a present value of not only the life policy, but the hypothetical profit share that would have gone with that life policy. As you know, PPS, you don't just get the cover, but you also get the profit share. So
Yes.
we took both of these and added them together, and it comes around about 9 million rand. So that's the present value. So that 9 million rand is then going to be allocated as to different students over the years to fund their education, and we are looking for the top students. So it doesn't matter your race, your gender, your social standing, whether you can afford to pay university or not, because a lot of the bursaries are about the family's means. In this case, we're looking for the best South African students, and we're going to be offering them a scholarship. So it doesn't matter what your background is. If you've got the marks for it, we are looking for those students. And we're looking for students also that have got a lot to offer, not just someone who's got good marks, but someone who's really exceptional, who is in today's terms, someone who stands head and shoulders above their peers. And we are giving them a full scholarship. That's going to be quite a generous scholarship, depending on where it is that they go to. But obviously, it needs to be a South African university, and it needs to be a professional degree, or at least a degree that will go into the honors and beyond. So that's who we're looking for. And we are so excited because there are so many talented South African students out there, and we can't wait to award our first bursary early next year.
That is super exciting. So how often are you awarding these bursaries? Is it once a year?
We're going to award, in the first instance, we're going to award the first two at the start of next year. And then thereafter, obviously, we're going to follow that kind of cadence. But if it does happen that we need to award 3 in 1 year, then, so be it. But we're looking at around 2 per annum, in order to honor these graduates. And in fact, we're going to look at under and postgrad studies to award the scholarship. Yeah.
Oh wow. No, that is super exciting. And you're going to have a client for life with that. I think part of the interview questions needs to be, if they plan to leave this beautiful country, I can't get it.
So our belief as PPS is that professionals are globally mobile.
Yeah, true.
So they go. What we encourage is that they must come back.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with people going out into the world and getting different experiences. In fact, from a PPS perspective, we cover you, regardless of where you're practicing. So you don't even have to disclose that, listen, I'm moving to another country. Your sickness benefits and all your other benefits will still follow you wherever you are in the world. And over and above that, we do also hazardous pursuits. But we like people traveling, we like people going and exploring, but what we like more is when they come back and they bring that value back to South Africa.
I love it. I love it. I love it what this stands for. I love the reason for it, and I love where this is going. So well done, PPS, and a massive team that worked on this. Before I ask you for a last word to our audience, who's obviously some graduates, some clients, but a lot of financial planners and financial advisors and brokers. Remind me of the website where they can get more detail or just follow this whole journey.
So it's at www.theforgottengraduate.co.za.
Okay.
And if you come to the PPS website as well, and you just go to the main page, you can go and you'll find the information there as well. It's currently on our carousel.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
A last message, Ayanda, to our audience.
So to the financial advisors, I mean, PPS is nothing without the financial advisors, and they are the faces, they are the ones who know this value proposition of this business. We really do appreciate them. We encourage them to also share this campaign, but beyond sharing this campaign, we encourage them to encourage young people that they know of who are studying, whether it is your clients, children. You know, if you know someone who is an exceptional student, please do encourage them to apply for the Pioneers Scholarship that is going to, I think the opening is in the last quarter. From around the 30th of November, we'll open applications. Please encourage your clients to let their children, or even if you've got clients who are students, let them apply for the scholarship, because we're really looking for the top of the cream that South Africa has got to offer. We appreciate our financial advisors. They help us to be financially resilient. You know, with a good relationship with a financial advisor, your prospects of being financially secure are really, really great, because they know what it is that they're doing. I always say, you know, with a good financial advisor, when you are emotional about your money, they are calm. You know, they are the ones who are like, calm down, I've got this, I can handle this business with you and for you. So it's a good relationship. When you've got the member, you've got PPS, and you've got a strong intermediary, that's a winning team.
Thank you. That's a great message. I am a PPS policyholder myself, and a very happy one, may I add. Thank you for the chat, Ayanda. It was absolutely great. This story was really, really inspiring from the moment I heard about it and going through the whole experience. So thank you for sharing this also with our audience, and I'm sure we'll catch up again.
Yeah, thank you so much.